Okay, welcome back for another one. Today we're doing giveaway EP3. We're going to do the valve clearances, and then while we're in there, we're going to assess to see if it needs a timing chain. It'll probably end up getting, I'm sure, time chain tensioner guides, but because it'll probably be a good guide video. But yeah, what else have we got going on? We've got a delivery. Delivery arrived there, which we're going to open on camera for one of our other projects, the Jazz. So that'll be pretty cool to reveal on video. But before we crack on with this, will we go ahead and do the giveaway from the last video, the Snap-on giveaway? Thank you for the comments on that video, really positive. All support we're getting with our YouTube, we really appreciate it. So hopefully with the likes of these sorts of...
And we hit 500 subscribers.
And we have 500 subscribers. Well, actually, we're 503, I think. Because we're due to be 500. This is why we're doing this giveaway. But yes, thank you for all the support. Really appreciate it. It'll allow us to do things like this and what we're about to do as well. So we'll crack on.
Do the
giveaway. So URL's in the comment picker. So get comments. We've got amount of comments. We've got 27 apparently. So start raffle and pick random winner. Yeah,
that's it.
Hit that button. Ready, go. It worked the last time. Go. There we go. Boom. It's working now. Carl Stewart. Carl. Actually, no, Carl's a customer. Carl, you want to snap an umbrella, so you can call up and grab it whenever you feel free. Because I know you're local. So you can just call him and get it. Perfect. Right. We'll crack on and start the guide then on the valve clearances, or will we open the...
I don't know, but I think it's really funny that like you give away like a Snap-on umbrella and the next thing we're giving away
is a Civic Type R.
It's a whole Civic.
It's a car, yeah.
That's hilarious.
We're sort of trying to pre-plan some of the things, like the 1,000 subscriber giveaway. Isn't this? It's something else that we've already pre-planned as well. It'd be better than an umbrella, but not as good as a car. No. Right.
Will we open this first, or will we do valve clearances?
We'll just
You're
open
busting to open this.
It's been here for like 2-3 days now, and it's come the way from Japan.
Right, let's open it.
As you can see, JDM K24, and I'm sure from the video you'll see there's a torque converter plate on it, which is good. So it's come from an automatic car, so it shouldn't have had a hard life. Engine looks nice and clean, but sort of talked about what we want to do with the Jazz, but we sort of sat down and decided a couple of months ago, right, this is the direction we want to go with this car. So K24 time. So not going to talk about figures and stuff yet of what it should do. A couple other companies, as I think I've said before, we're working with that we're supposed to come back to us regarding parts, and they're sort of messing about, so it sort of put a whole stopper on the thing for us. But I think for me, we're focusing on the grey EP3, the red EP3, the customers' builds. That's been sitting there for like 3 days. I've just been like, I want to open up, I want to open up.
Yeah.
Everybody gets excited about car parts, even us.
The phone call.
I'm at this like 17 years and I still, a pallet comes with parts, customers' parts coming, I'm like, ooh.
The phone call on Monday to be like, I want to open it now, but I need it for a video.
I need it for a video, It's going to be in a video, so ta-da. But yeah, so we should have a lot of fun with this one. A lot of fun with this one. Yeah. Right, okay.
Valve clearances.
Start with the valve clearance guide. The purpose of today's video is we're going to show you an actual guide how to do valve clearances. So we'll take this as any EP3 with aircon, because this step, if you don't have aircon, you don't have to do. Okay, so one of the things is whenever you go to lift off the outer cover, there's a lot of stuff in your way. So the first bit is literally just taking covers off and trim. So what I usually do is 2 cable ties. If you want to show here, Mark, see the hole here in the front panel, right beside the headlight. What we usually do is loop of cable tie through it, and we will cable tie the air con hose out of the way. Just bend it gently. I mean, that means that hose, try not to pull too hard, you can't get there, obviously you might damage it. Hose looks okay, there's no real stress on it. So yeah, that keeps it away from we're going to try and pull the cover off. You don't have to worry about. Right, next step. Some people think I'm taking too much stuff off, but whenever I'm working on customers' cars, I like to take the element of any sort of risk of breaking it and just take it away. So I take as much as apart as possible. So what is it to call that? Is it Murphy's Law? What can go wrong will go wrong.
Is that Murphy's Law?
It's Murphy's Law, isn't it?
What's Sod's Law? That it's going to happen?
Sod's Law, yeah, it's going to happen. So yeah. Murphy's Law is what can go wrong will probably go wrong. So I just try and... Right, so yeah. First things first. Clutch master cylinder reservoir. Put it out of the way. Unclip the accelerator cable out of the way. And then next thing is you have the cable for the level sensor on the brake fluid reservoir. Take it off. Right. Obviously, you guys are probably best using ratchets. I'm going to use maybe battery gun because I know tolerance is what I am, and I'm not going to break. I'm going to do this, and something's going to break. It's going to. It's camera, the camera's on.
Sod's Law.
Sod's Law. Right. So good. Okay. Top cover off. I don't know if you want to see this mark, 10mm here on the reservoir. They're usually really rusty. I'll take that off. It came off and didn't break too, happy days. There's the main mounting bracket here. Some people when they're pulling these cover off just tend to pull them and then they end up damaging and scratching it. Now granted this cover is in horrendous condition. It will be being changed as we build the car, but I'm just trying to show you that if you have a nice shiny rock cover, how to take it apart and not scrape and damage it. So next we'll have the main mounting bracket for the two reservoirs. Need to take it off. So there's two 10mm. There's one, I don't know if you can show Mark, see right there, at 10mm, and then there's one just behind it. So easy the one behind it is you literally just have your ratchet and you can squeeze down the back and get onto it. If it's not that tight. I don't think it's ever been off before. That's that bracket loose, 210s are out. So that gives you all the freedom then with the brake reservoir. So next, rocker cover. Oh, right, okay. This car has this bit of hose, which that bit of hose that's like, I don't know where the fuck. Then it'll probably be getting a nice induction kit fitted to it. So yeah, so next thing is all 10mm of the cover dipstick and all off to get the cover off. And they're usually fine, but you're going to take these off. They've been over tightened and stick to the stud that holds the coil back in. So just, if it feels really tight, just take it easy, use your best judgment. Yeah, let's pull the whole thing off. Yeah, so like I said, it'll pull.
Cool.
Yep, so you'll see, just be careful when you pull that, you're not breaking something underneath. 2 10mm in the coil pack. They'd come off, and then all your 10s. To come off.
Probably a really stupid question, but I'm interested myself. Before you do valve clearance and stuff like that there, engine has to be cold, hot.
Engine, yeah, sorry, I should have said that. Yeah, so we brought this car on last night. Before you do valve clearances, you're best to have the car overnight, or at least it has to have been sitting for, I'm sure, 4 or 5 hours. Engine's best to be stone cold. All the tolerances then obviously all contract. That means you're going to set them correctly as per the workshop manual. Right. Okay. Sometimes you're going to have to pry off, as we say, just a screwdriver on them. But if if you've got a nice painted rocker cover, you're probably best using something plastic, so it's less chance of actually chipping the paint off it. One other important thing actually is, see these wee bad boys? They're wee spacers. They sit on top of the studs on the earlier. Everything is up to 2004, some 2005 cards. These went to a solid bolt, same as FD2, FN2. But these wee sleeves, they stop whenever you tighten the top nut. For this, that means that sits, and that can sit like that and stop it, because you always get these cards when there's a hole right through, because people just take the nut straight through on the stud and have them put the washer onto it. The wire harness for the coil pack. Obviously you need to try and get this all out of the way. So what I usually do is be careful. You have your purge line and your servo line here. You can literally just grab it and just gently tuck it behind it like that, so it's held out of the way, which means if you look here now, everything, we've got the pipe out of the way, brake reservoir. I said, you maybe best even throw a bit of masking tape on the top edge of your cover if you've got a nice painted cover. Right, so next thing to do is pry the cover off. Probably best to go in here. There's a good chance you're probably going to need a new gasket, so if you already know you've had a gasket fitted, be careful prying in here so you don't damage your original gasket. But then once that's loose on that side, you should be able to grab it there in the breather, just gently swivel it, and it comes straight off. Yeah, it's quite dirty inside this one, but that's something we're going to have to obviously get cleaned. Yeah, okay, so this is sort of a prime example of a K-series that maybe not so much has had a hard life, but hasn't had a high level of maintenance. You can see how dark the tarnishing is all aluminium. I actually even rub that. Nope, they're all going to need to be cleaned. So they are. Yeah, so I'm pretty set on this car's going to need. Right, next step. You're going to be turning the engine over to get a TDC on the different cylinders. I'll explain it in a second. So best thing to do is pull the plugs out. Take the plugs out. You're pulling the plugs out. Only because this should have been changed. It's actually got dams already, so it's actually got a really good plug in it, which is good. But you're taking the plugs out because it releases the compression inside the engine, which means it's easier to turn over by hand. But I'll show you that in one. Next thing is you're going to have to turn the engine over. Obviously the TDC on cylinder 1. One of the key pieces of information you should really know whenever you're working these engines is the firing order. In the workshop manual, it does say to set the valve clearances in the order of the firing order. So the firing order of a K20 is cylinder 1, cylinder 3, 4 and 2. So what we want to do is we're going to take off, I think it has it. Yep, we're going to pull the lower cover off the side here, get a ratchet extension onto it and turn the engine over. What I'm going to do is get a long, you don't have to have a quarter drive extension, but what I have to do is put a quarter drive extension on top of the piston. You can hear it there hitting the piston. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn the engine over, and that piston comes to the top of the cylinder. That's what TDC is, for everybody that doesn't know.
TDC means?
Top dead center. Do that one more. Right, so I'm going to go and grab ratchet and extension and 19 mil. So Honda have put these, what do you call them?
Access?
That's be access louvers to actually get at the crank pulley, but personally I prefer to just yeah, as you can see now with the cover dropped down out of the way. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to get access to this 19 mil, the crank pulley and the crank bolt. So what we're going to do in the quarter drive extension to show top dead center on number 1 cylinder. So what we're going to do is we have got town marks. I don't know if you're going to be able to show these because they're tucked in behind here. What we're trying to do is we're going to turn the crank around. As you can see there, the extension is starting to come up. So what that's doing is that's starting to bring the engine into time. You can see now the engine has stopped turning over. Now that means pretty much the piston's as high as it's going to go. So what we can do is we can there's a timing mark on the lower pulley that shows top dead center, but with these cars being the age that they are, whenever we're checking the chains on them, whenever that gets to the top and doesn't really move, you know you're very, very close to it. This car has no record of the timing chain being done, so I'm going to be pretty sure it needs done. I don't know, Mark, if you can see this. I don't know if you can see it there on camera, but that line and that line should pretty much meet up when the crank's at TDC. That means your camshafts and your crankshaft are all on time. I don't know if you can see that, but it's pretty much half a tooth out, which is nothing. I can only assume that this car has had a chain. Now, I'd already thought to myself, screw it, we're just going to stick a timing chain tensor into this, because I think I actually discussed it in the last video, whereas I don't want to give a car away to somebody and then it's pretty much, to do the chain properly, it's got some £1,000 of labour and parts and all the rest of it.
So you don't want to give someone a burden? You don't want to
I don't want to give somebody a car and then 2 months later they get a fault code. But what's that? Oh, that's the chain stretched, and they have to start spending all this money. Fair enough, they're getting a car. The car's going to be cheap, but yeah, we want to give somebody a decent car. So, irrespective of what we find today, I'm sticking a chain on it. The engine's coming out. Next thing, valve clearances. So, there is a sort of special tool you need to do this job. You can get them online for like 30 quid, valve clearance adjuster tool. We use genuine Honda tools here. We've have done for years. I'll show them in a second. But tolerances, right. Intake valve clearances is, we're probably gonna have to try and get something you're gonna flag up. I'll try and put a workshop on it. I set them to 0.21 intake and 0.25 exhaust. The tolerance, I think, on the intake is 0.21 to 0.25. And I think on the exhaust it's 0.25 to 0.28 millimeters of clearance. So I pretty much, some people say you shouldn't set them to their tightest tolerance. I use the feeler gauge for the tightest tolerance, but I tend to run them ever so slightly looser than it because you can feel the drag, which I'll show you now on the valve clear, on the feeler gauge. Right, I'll grab the feeler gauges and we'll. Right, this is the original Honda tool. You have your almost like screwdriver for adjusting the actual tappet itself, and you have the tool with 10mm to release the nut. You can get, this is a genuine Honda tool. This is pretty expensive, but I've had this for, it's well over 10 years I have this now. You can get a tool, I think you get them on eBay for 35 quid, which comes with, it's more or less this bit with a handle on it, because that's what you're going to use to release it. And then obviously you hold like that and you turn your fingers like that to adjust the screw. So the tools that I need, because I have them, is a 17mm to fit that, your valve clearance adjuster, and then your 0.25 and 0.21 feeder gauges. So go ahead and show you how to do this. One of the tips I'll probably give you is, see if you look here, Mark, see all this dirt and grease on the leading edge of the head and the intake manifold? Here, it's really dirty. You'd probably be best trying to clean that before you take the rocker cover off. Now granted, we're going to be opening this engine up and clean the inside of it out anyway, but just if it's your own car, if you can see dirt and grease in there, probably best give it away. Either hit it with brake cleaner, or even if you put a bit of TFR and hit it with your power hose quickly while the engine's running, just push all the dirt out. Right, okay. So, valve clearances. We're obviously at TDC and cylinder 1. Camshafts, if you get the cam lobes, they're pointing, these are your cam lobes here, that's the highest point here and here. They're pointing away from the rollers, the rocker assembly. So therefore, that means the valves aren't engaged. So you're going to take your 0.21 feeler gauge, and you probably can't see it here, Mark, but there's a gap between the screw and the actual top of the valve. People call them their tappets.
Up the torch on.
Just push it, yep, that's it. So, okay, so yeah, if you can see where I've slid the feeler gauge into, just on top of the valve and the bottom of the tappet, you can actually see it there, and if you look how loose that is, that's the tolerance that we want to tighten up. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to go ahead and adjust it. So how you adjust it is, this nut 10mm, you release it while holding, you can see the top of there, the actual screw. You want to hold that still while you release it. So we'll just get our tool to lock in. Right, so as I said, you can buy a tool online. It does make this job easier, but I've been using the Honda tool for years, so yeah, right, okay, so what you want to do is you want to hold the screwdriver that you'll have in your tool to hold the tappet nut, the tappet stud, sorry, steady, and then you'll push your handle to release that 10mm. So, sort of gently, sort of shuddering, is that the word you use? You see it sort of, it's sort of across, it's not, so that more or less lets us know that's tight enough. That's it, set the tolerance. So then as you hold your top, tighten that, you're 17. You have a nip. These are supposed to be torqued to spec. We'll torque them after I finish this video, but just for the purposes of showing you. And that's that one set. That's that one tight enough. So then we're just going to go ahead and do this one. And then we're going to go on. Mark probably will be able to get this in, but the back one, the exhaust ones are going to need done as well. They're the ones that set the 0.25. So I've went ahead set cylinder 1. I said the firing order of these engines is 1, 3, 4, 2. So I went ahead and set cylinder 3. One of the things I actually wanted to show you was whenever you're setting cylinder 1. Okay, so whenever you're setting cylinder 1, that will set at 12 o'clock. That's how you know you're at cylinder 1. And then obviously cylinder 3 is the second stage of firing. So it'll go cylinder 1, cylinder 3, and then it will point at 6 o'clock for cylinder 4, and then 9 o'clock for cylinder 2. So I'm going to go ahead and crack on with setting the rest of these, and then you can also watch the position that I'm setting this up.
Okay.
You'll probably lose this arrow, won't you?
Yeah, I can see it.
See it there at 6 o'clock now, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Probably just seen the B-roll, yeah? B-roll.
There's B-roll, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you've probably just seen the B-roll there. We went ahead and set all these. As I said at the start, the best thing to do is remove as many of the obstacles, i.e. the aircon pipe, the brake fluid reservoir, clutch reservoir bracket, and try and clean around. You're trying to stop any dirt or grime getting inside the engine while you're taking it apart. And then obviously just pay attention to the position the engine's in as you're setting your cylinders, your 1, 3, 4, 2. I'm going to go ahead and check all these, all the lock nuts. It's torque and mold spec. I don't know what the torque is off the top of my head. I'll have to go and look at the workshop manual. But yeah, intake is 0.21, exhaust is 0.25. If there's anything that you feel was sort of skimmed over or missed on this, let us know in the comments. Yeah, well, I'm sure what you'll see is doing valve clearance in the future. The engine is, I'm pretty much set on the engine that's going to come out of this car. Just more or less we can clean the engine bay, and then we're going to fit a new timing sheet and gaskets and everything to it. It's got 120,000 miles on it, so it'll do it no harm. If somebody's going to win a car and they know that everything inside is okay. Yeah, so make sure you comment, like and subscribe. Subscribing's free. So to keep up to date with what's going on with the giveaway with this car, we're sort of settled on the way that we are going to arrange the giveaway with this car. There's just a few more things we need to confirm just so that it's all going to work smoothly, just so we can be as transparent as possible. But I suppose you're not going to get much more transparent in a giveaway car that we're going to show you there's a hole in the sill, and we're going to show you this, and we're going to change that. So it means people know exactly what it is they're getting. So
that's it.
That's pretty much it. We're just going to wrap this one up here.
Cool.
Comment, like, subscribe again. We'll see you in the next one.
Cool.